All right, bruh fans. Wow. I don't know if I scored an episode as high as this so far this season. Please let me know if I did, because I honestly don't remember. Which is sad because it's been 3 weeks so far. I don't know. 9 out of 10. Season 4, episode 8 to life. 9 out of 10. Maybe I gave the Rain episode a high score because Rain is fine as hell. But then again, what do I know? The Sistas thing has been, taking over most of my mental capacity at the moment, trying to figure out who stabbed Gary. And that video is coming, I promise. Or it will have already come because I don't know when I'm posting my bro review versus the sister stuff. So the henchman, Jack's henchman, goes into Claudia's room and, giving some monologuing about how you had a king, you had a castle, and you just messed it up and pissed it all away. And then he tries to smother her with a pillow. Darla comes in because she hears some muffled groaning. And then, she roughs up the henchman, who manages to kind of trip her up by, kicking like a stool over her for her to trip over. So then he bolts out of the room. And keep in mind, most of everybody's attention is on that old woman who fainted at the end of the last episode. Darla takes out her gun and is about to, shoot him. But, he gets out of range. So then she goes off on the officer that was supposed to be watching the door. He was asking me a question and no one effing cares. Go after him, all right? So then from there, I ain't gonna lie, that scene, that made me laugh. So in any case, the old lady gets helped up by some nurses and they're like, so what happened? Are you okay? Yeah, I just haven't eaten all day. It's my sugar. Well, come on, let's get you something to eat. No, I'm fine. It's like, come on. It's like, no, I'm fine. You better take your damn hands off me before I sue this hospital. Okay. So then as she's kind of scuffling off, Jack goes up to her, is like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, here's some money. Go get something to eat. And we see that he gives her a huge wad of cash. And she kind of looks around and leaves. And Jack kind of eyeballs the room. And then he goes, down the hall. So what we learn here is from the detective from last week. She's talking with Darla. It's like, so, all right, so you were the one who found the assailant and managed to, stop him from killing Claudia. But the question is, why were you even here? Your shift had already ended. And then she's trying to explain, well, actually, I was here, to meet with a friend for lunch. And, it's like, okay, I was just making sure because, just want to get the details of the case. I'm thinking to myself, well, it's a good thing Darla did pop up to see Greg after all, because when you really think about it, had she not been there, there's a very good chance Claudia would have been killed because the officer who was supposed to be at the door was over there attending to the old lady. So if I'm not mistaken, Darla and Greg theoretically would have still been having that lunch. So all the commotion might have gotten their attention, and then Darla would have rushed over there. So regardless, even though I still say her popping up for the lunch was a bit much considering Greg said they would go on a real date first, it turned out that it was the right thing to do because basically things worked out the way it was supposed to in Claudia's favor. So from there, the detective is talking to Tom about the situation. And it turns out, she did what I suggested last week. Why don't you just move Claudia to a different room or a different floor? But then in either the comment section or in another video, I said, oh, wow, that would make sense. It would also be a huge red flag because one of Jack's dudes in the hospital could actually see that, oh, there's a room that has a cop outside of it. So it looks like they moved Claudia. So that's probably what happened here. But in any case, it's the fact that Tom, and that's why I really love this episode because it really made it feel realistic, that Tom discovered that despite wanting to do a lot more to help out Claudia, if you're unable to get past the red tape, then there's nothing you can do, I mean, the fact that it took Claudia this long to come around, and I'm not victim blaming because she has every reason to be afraid, but it's like the longer she took to come forward about, who was her assailant, the longer it took to figure out a way to help her. And even though it's like, okay, we're glad you agreed to our terms and conditions to help you get put away into a different, program to help you, but we got to go through so many different, protocols in order to make sure we can get you into the, safe house. But Tom makes a great point. It's like, look, Detective, your police barricade has been infiltrated twice. Once by the dead rat in the meal tray, and then this time when she was almost smothered. So we need to do something right now. Look, there's nothing we can really do. So from there, Tom goes to see Claudia, and basically she doesn't trust the social worker, and Tom just convinced her to keep fighting. So this leads to the social worker calling Tom, and it goes to what I just said about the detective mentioning that, okay, it's a good thing Claudia has come around, but at this moment we can't move her. I mean, we gotta, dot every T and cross every I. I know I said that backwards, but that's how this system feels. It's, ass backwards. You say you can help someone, but there are different, policies and procedures that are in place that need to be handled. However, given the fact that the victim has almost been killed twice, should tell you right there, we need to do something immediately. So Tom has to juggle with the, position that he's in as a doctor, the policies and whatnot of the hospital versus what he feels he needs to do to save Claudia, which I believe next week is when he takes Claudia from the hospital and brings her to his apartment, which I think is a big no-no for multiple reasons, but I'll talk about that once we get to those actual episodes. Now, from there, we go over to Bill's place. Hilda and Regina are trying to redecorate the apartment. Bill really isn't feeling it. And then they kind of have a little back and forth about, Regina just doing what her mom says and Bill not really having a say. And something tells me that even if Bill did assist in picking different things, they'd probably be like, oh, instead of, blue, we want the red. Well, actually, I think the blue is, we'll go with the red. That's how it feels to redecorate. Honestly, that's how I felt when I got to this house with my mom. And look, I kind of, went with it when we went to the furniture store because I don't know what the hell to get. It's like I knew I wanted a recliner, or I knew I wanted, a big bed or something like that. But my mom would help narrow it down by color and stuff, because I don't know how to match colors and whatnot. So in any case, we go over to Bill saying, you know what, hey, I'm going to go out for a late night workout like I always do. And Hilda is suspect because she doesn't trust Bill going off in the middle of the night. And Regina's like, oh, Bill's a good man. And I'm thinking, like, Regina, he's only been on his best behavior for the past, 24, 48 hours. Don't give him so much credit. So we see Bill over at the elevator. He's on the phone with someone who we learn is Natalie. And I'm thinking, like, okay, Bill, you just promised your wife you're going to do right. And now you're already trying to call somebody and get something freaky going. So it turns out the reason he contacted Natalie is for a late night private session of yoga. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, good on Bill. Okay. It's like, I still think it's rather risky trying to, get yoga lessons from a person you were, wasn't Natalie his ex, sexually engaged with in the past? But I'm like, okay, that aside, maybe he's trying to find his center in order to be a better man. It's like, okay, let me be disciplined. Let me work on my form. Let me work with getting in tune with my inner self so I can be ready to be the best husband and father I can. However, as the lesson goes on, you can clearly see that Bill has the hots for Natalie. And based off Natalie's reaction to Pam talking about Bill and Regina getting together again a few episodes ago, it's like, okay, is Natalie going to fall for this? But in a very nice twist, Natalie shuts him down when she started noticing how Bill was feeling on her ass. And I was really shocked by that, because I did not expect Natalie to, turn down Bill's advances. And I like the way she put it, where it's like, no. You're just going to use me as a temporary distraction because you feel like you are, cooped up playing house with Regina. And then you're going to justify having sex with me as she came on to me and she's a woman and yada, yada, yada. So I was proud of Natalie. Now, don't get me wrong, though. This is only episode 8. We still got 2 episodes to go. Who's to say they don't hook up by the end of the season? And I don't know. Cause I felt like, Bill, man, you full of it. You full of it. It's like, I can see you now being a husband and father, but the minute you feel like, oh, this ain't it, you're going to run off and try to get ass somewhere. And I'm just thinking to myself, did you learn nothing from the Claudia situation? Did you not learn anything from the Claudia situation? Good grief. All right, so the ending yes, I know to talk about the Greg and Darla stuff. I'll say that for last. So Jack apparently is paying off one of the nurses to get information on Claudia's new location on the fifth floor, room number, basically the works. And from there, he has a wad of cash ready to hand her. But apparently he's like, oh, job isn't over yet. And I'm thinking to myself, Lord, is he going to get this nurse to kill Claudia? But no, he orders some champagne, so I'm guessing like he wants some jungle love later that night. Now, going over to Tom's apartment, kind of following up on the action that took place at the hospital. He was worried about Darla, wanted to see how she was doing, and I was actually shocked by this because, you know, she actually came. So what is it, Greg? Because she's still in her feelings about the lunch they had earlier and dealing with the aftermath of the attack at the hospital. Now, what I liked about this scene, and it's a very realistic kind of thing where you have Greg talking with a police officer. You know, he really is, you know, concerned about what happened at the hospital. And Darla, you know, is kind of understating what went down by saying, hey, Greg, it's part of my job. Don't worry about it. But, you know, hey, it's like you save lives, I save lives. And Greg makes a good point. It's like, well, you know what? Yeah, it's like, but my life isn't in danger when I do that kind of stuff. And, you know, anything could have happened and you just, you know, took care of the situation. So I like the fact that he was concerned, but also impressed. And it wasn't in a, wow, you know, I can't believe a woman, you know, like yourself. Hey, take the trans woman thing off the table. I mean, like in general, like, you know, any kind of show, if it was, you know, a female that took down a male in any circumstance, there would have been the toxic masculinity. Oh, I can't believe, you know, a woman, you know, a dainty woman like yourself took care of a guy his size. No, there was none of that. It was literally, wow, what you did was really brave and impressive. I like how this was written. It was handled very well. But, you know, it then kind of, I hate to bring this term back, but I feel like the conversation shifted to a YOLO. It's like, hey, you know, moments like that when you come down from the adrenaline, I can never get that word right. Adrenaline. I'm not going to say it again. That's when you realize, like, wow, you know, anything could have happened. Like, dude could have had a weapon or anything like that. But luckily, things didn't turn out like that, and the situation was handled. So, you know, it was more of a, oh, wow, yeah, it makes you really value the time you have left and the people out in your life and this, that, and the third. And then the conversation goes to, okay, so at this point, are they actually going on a date? Or is this one of those brief scenes where they have a moment in the episode, then in the very next episode, what happened in the last episode is completely redundant because we're back at square one. So then the conversation shifts over to the fact that he has steak and potatoes on the way. He gets called out for being basic. And I felt like, Darla, be quiet. I have a traditional palate, you know, like when it comes to food. I'm a picky eater. I do not stray far from what I know and am familiar with. And no, this is not an analogy for dating. No, I'm talking about in general. You give me a bag of Doritos, it better be nacho cheese. I don't want no ranch. I don't want any other shit. Give me the nacho cheese. Oh, you offer me some Lay's? It better be regular Lay's. I don't want no barbecue, no vinegar and all that. Give me regular Lay's chips. Barbecue sauce, honey barbecue, sweet baby Ray barbecue. Don't give me that spicy shit. Hey, you can call me I know basic is usually the terminology for, you know, the white people that drink tea or coffee is like, oh, that's so basic. No. Pumpkin spice so basic. You can call me basic in terms of my, you know, palate, because that's the way I am. Damn it, I'm a picky eater. So she does convince him to like try some other kind of food that she orders, and then, you know, yet again it turns into a, well, maybe if you try a little something extra, you might like it. So it's really weird, the dynamic they have here, because one minute Darla's like, I want to be courted and whatnot. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, try something new, Greg. So it's like, so what exactly is going on here? But then again, next week is the final 2 episodes. Maybe we'll get a conclusion of these 2. I don't know. But regardless, this was a very strong episode. One of, if not the best of the season so far, even though Rain was not in it. So that tells you something right there. If I'm scoring an episode this high and Rain isn't in it, dang, it was really damn good. So with that being said, what did you think about episode 8? How do you feel about the season thus far? Because next week we wrap things up, and I can't wait to talk about the entire season once it is over. So like and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video.